Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kinda hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Now! Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternating. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Robert Jarsinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer Carrie Jarsinski and our very own critic in residence Tim Brayton. With Ocean's 8 pilfering its way into theaters this upcoming weekend, featuring an all-star cast headed up by leading lady Sandra Bullock, we wanted to look back at Sandy's career and bring you our top 5 Sandra Bullock movies. Tim, it's kind of...
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's perfect.
Kind of...
Good.
What's that?
How are you doing?
Well, you kind of sound out of breath.
No.
Yeah?
Fine. Yeah, I'm totally fine.
You sure?
I'm sure.
You have,
maybe out of breath.
You have anything you want to tell Carrie and I?
No, you guys are great.
Carrie, when I picked him up, he wasn't at his house normally. Normally we do the pickup.
You were in my driveway.
He kind of stumbled into the driveway coming from somewhere. He didn't want to disclose where he was.
It's fine.
Okay.
I wasn't drinking. I was fine.
Your hair's all frazzled.
You guys are being weird on me. What's the
Nothing's weird. I don't know what Rob's being weird.
You seem like anxious and
Rob's
and
being
strange.
weird.
I feel like these are signs of things, of discourse in the relationship here.
I mean, just because I want to go on other podcasts doesn't mean that, you're still my first podcast. All right? And this other person's podcast, she's a colleague. It's a work thing. It was with someone from work, okay?
Okay.
Wait.
Just with someone from work.
Are you talking about something that's in the future, or is this something that's already happened?
I mean, I recorded another podcast.
I didn't know that we had like an open recording type of relationship happening here.
It's not a big deal.
What kind of podcast was it?
It was a movie podcast.
Ooh,
and it was like 3 people. It was like 2 men and 1 woman. And we were all film scholars. And it was great because I finally got to have like a real conversation about movies.
Is this a joke?
With people who are like smart
about
movies.
I feel like you're spoofing me here.
No, it was
You wouldn't
awesome.
do that to me.
I mean, what? I wouldn't do what? I didn't do anything.
Was it better, Tim?
It was different.
No, tell us a little bit about this. Yeah.
I will, in a few weeks' time, be appearing on the Flixwise podcast, hosted by Lady P, a fellow grad student here at UW-Madison. So yeah, we recorded the episode tonight. The lead times are a little bit different for her show than ours, so she doesn't have quite the the gung-ho go-get-'em spirit where she gets those out immediately. So it will be a few weeks after this podcast goes live that podcast goes live. But we talked about Disney movies, so the reason I guest starred on the podcast was pretty self-evident. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. So when that happens, we're going to spread the good word here too. But
yeah, I've checked it out. I've listened to it a few times. The one that I tuned in on was their top movies of 2017. Carrie, you still look hurt. You still look very jaded by the situation.
I feel left out of this.
You got to move on.
Was she better than me?
It's not about the size of your film knowledge. It's about what you do with it.
So you're saying I'm better?
I'm saying you're my pumpkin.
Oh. Does she have this kind of mom bun hair thing going on? Or, where do I stack up there?
Well, it was not air conditioned in her apartment, so we were also just
it's very humid.
We were just sort of sweaty and frizzled.
See, it's very cool and crisp in here.
And you guys have a soundproof room.
And,
and she didn't. So
No.
So it wasn't nearly, the equipment wasn't.
So the equipment, I feel fine again. I feel okay. after
Rob's
all this.
tools are so much bigger than hers. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, if an affair were to ever occur, Carrie would be more dismayed about the physical. Like she's like, go emotionally cheat all over the place. But
that's fine. That's fine.
But it can't be a physical thing.
Does she have a tendency towards being really clever with like games on her podcast and stuff?
No, I don't know anyone like that.
No games?
No.
Just wait for this one.
Well, let's talk some movies. I wish I had some things to talk about. It was a light movie week for me. I only saw 2 movies and none really worth mentioning. Very light, super light.
I saw 4.
Yeah. 2 is
You
like
saw 4?
Yeah.
2 is like when I'm not trying and I'm just sort of like walking through the mall. I still manage to see 2 movies.
Yeah, we're trying to get through some TV, some binge Netflix stuff right now. Unfortunately,
I'm sorry. Are we trying to find good TV shows, one bad TV show at a time?
No, we're not.
Sir?
I know. Sometimes it like you watch enough and it's like it starts to feel a little bit like homework. So you take a little bit. What do you do like when you try to get away from movies? You never do, right?
I watch shorter movies, which will tend to be animated or comic.
Oh, I got to step away every once in a while. You saw 2 more movies than
I did.
Okay, what did you see?
I think I saw 3 of them with you, so I think you missed one. But I saw Black Sea, which don't need to talk about that one. I saw Our Brand is Crisis, which is...
Oh, crap. Yeah, I did see 3.
Oh, okay, good.
Damn it.
And then I saw The Parent Trap, because that was our kids' pick for movie night this week.
The original Parent Trap or the Lindsay Lohan?
The Lindsay Lohan version. So we watched that.
Do your children idolize her? Do they want to have a life just like she's had?
No, I specifically was like, here's the before and after. Don't do drugs.
So you showed them Paul
or
Schrader's The
Botox.
Canyons, the movie she made with the porn star.
I don't even know what that is.
She made a movie with a porn star by Paul Schrader.
I didn't show them that. I'm going to save
You
that
should.
till they're like 10.
No, I think immediately after it'll make it much more
Good
dramatic.
follow-up.
Yeah. And then I watched Crash.
Oh, so 2 Sandra Bullock. I remember that's why we saw Our Brand is Crisis, as we were catching up maybe on some missing Sandra Bullock
Yeah.
stuff for us.
So I saw those 4.
Okay.
I don't think anything worth mentioning. I was going to talk about Black Sea, but I didn't think it was particularly good, and so I don't think
It's
it's
not
worth
particularly good. It's not particularly bad. It's just one of
It's
those
just
ones
a
where
thing.
it just
It's
yeah.
one of them movies.
Did you
that's
see
out
anything
there.
worth talking about, Tim?
Actually, yeah, I saw 13 movies, of which about half were Sandra Bullock, because I realized when we started
so
this
impressed
list,
by you.
and we're going to talk about this, I'm sure, when we get to the lists. I have not seen a lot of Sandra Bullock movies, especially some of the like super canonical ones. So I tried to cram a lot of Sandra Bullock into my life.
6. You saw 6 Sandra Bullock
I think
ones.
actually I exaggerated. I think I saw 4 new Sandra Bullocks
Okay.
in the last week.
Okay.
I will be talking about none of those tonight,
no.
or will I in my
Or
top
will
5
you?
maybe. I don't know. What I want to talk about instead, one of the movies I watched, because I just needed a break. So I watched a different kind of movie. Because that's what I do, because I care about watching movies. I don't like faff off to watch The
Were you
Leftovers or whatever hip, trendy
Leftovers
shit.
pretty good. 13
I've
reasons.
heard-
It's
I've heard it's
13.
really good.
It's 13 reasons.
Were you
why.
doing
That's
it-
what we're
Oh,
doing.
why?
Because we're
It was a
teenagers. Gary and I
don't
pretend to be
know.
Isn't
Rob's
it like
making me
isn't it
watch
like
it.
weird suicide ideation?
Yeah,
the
it's
show
really bad.
Okay,
Because Rob's
much,
really
yeah.
into
All
it.
right.
And I just
I don't know what that
to
says
satisfy.
about you. All right.
Do you feel like you watched all these movies for her or for me?
I watched this movie on Netflix for you
I like that.
because
Okay.
it was cheap, and I didn't have to work at it. No.
I feel like it's going down. The pumpkin. Let's go back to pumpkin.
You're at least my second favorite person in this room, Carrie.
Oh, then now you're bringing it back up. Bringing it back up. So tell us about it.
So I watched the Netflix, not technically a Netflix production, a film distributed by Netflix, produced by Screen Australia. 2017's Cargo just premiered a couple weeks ago on Netflix. It stars Martin Freeman as a man who is a survivor of the zombie apocalypse that has left Australia a wasteland of weird characters living in the desert and behaving in horrible antisocial ways. So how this is meant to be distinguished from normal Australia is very difficult to tell. But it's very much like a Mad Max-y sort of environment, which is really cool. So it's Mad Max plus zombies, which is not new. Like Mad Max plus zombies has been done before, but it's a good version of Mad Max plus zombies. And what it is the way zombie works in this universe is if you get attacked, it's about a 48-hour incubation period, and then you become a zombie.
Are you a fast zombie or a slow zombie?
You are a fairly slow zombie.
Okay.
So at the start of the movie, his wife gets attacked. So she has 48 hours, and he doesn't want to believe it. He's like, "No, you got gored in your leg, but we're going to get you to a hospital. We're going to
get you there.
fixed up." So they've been on a houseboat, so they've been safe, but they leave the houseboat. And they also have a 1-year-old daughter.
Care they have a baby. I'm seeing a baby in like a backpack situation here.
But it's
that sounds
it's
awesome.
good. It's sweet. So what happens? The wife dies. She's a zombie, and he has to kill her.
Oh, he could just let her walk around.
But she wants to eat him, and he doesn't want that. So he gets bitten. So he now knows he has 48 hours. So he spends the last 48 hours of his life trying to figure out where his daughter can be, like what to do with his daughter.
Don't tell me what happened.
Of course not.
Oh my
That's the
gosh.
plot. Like he needs to find where to keep his daughter safe. I I thought this was a really cool movie, really fun, not fun, but like the concept is really, really strong. Great performances for the most part. The weird exception being Martin Freeman, who is excellent as a zombie apocalypse survivor. I never believed him as the father of this daughter. Like,
Say his name again?
Martin Freeman.
I don't think I know him.
You totally do. He's Tim in The Office, the British Office. He's Bilbo in the Hobbit trilogy. He is
Avengers.
Watson in the Sherlock.
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Only white guy, pretty much.
Only white guy, Black Panther.
He's Merry, isn't he? In Lord of the Rings?
No, he's Bilbo in the
Oh,
Hobbit
he's Bilbo.
movies. He's not in the Lord of
Okay.
the Rings. He's only in the Hobbits.
Okay, I guess. I'm blurring
It's
my
Ian
hobbits.
Holm is Bilbo in.
Oh,
the
right.
Lord of the Rings.
Right. I know exactly who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't really sell me as the father of this kid, but everything else is really good. The other thing that's like really, really effective about it is
I got
the
him.
film is cross-cutting between the story of how this man is going to deal with his 1-year-old daughter with the story of an Aboriginal girl. She's like 8 or 10 years old, whose father has been infected, and she's using like her culture's accumulated folklore to try and deal with that situation. And she is played by Simone Landers, I believe her first film. Really fascinating thing that is kind of going on but never really committed to, like, how would this very different traditional culture deal with a zombie outbreak in a way that is quite different from the sort of traditional Western movie zombie apocalypse. I wish they'd gone into it more. Like, it's so interesting that, like, as a what if, like an Australian Aboriginal culture dealing with zombies, clearly doing it better than the white people. Like, that's obvious from the plot. There's just not quite enough of that to like really push it all the way over the edge, but it's really cool that it sort of touches on it. And Simone Landers is really good.
Well, we
really
just
good job.
we just updated our top pick section of the site, which every month we go back and we reflect back on the movies that we watched in the last month. And this was on your list, I didn't know anything about it. I'm intrigued.
I think I could pretty securely recommend this to both of you.
Okay.
And here's why I think you might be interested, even though you don't want to be interested in it. It is very A Quiet Placey.
Okay.
I think it does a lot of things that I felt like A Quiet Place kind of fumbled slightly better.
Interesting. I'm intrigued. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I'm actually a weird zombie lover. So we used to watch The Walking Dead all the time. And then
I've never seen The Walking Dead, but this has been compared to it a lot.
we used to love it. And then it got a little, so Judith is a baby that's in that one, and I just couldn't take the anxiety. Judith was a baby, and they were trying to keep her alive, and kids started dying off, older ones. I mean, I don't care when you're like +7, but like for this little
Watch
baby.
out,
I'm sure that's a great comfort to your elder daughter.
She's turning 7 this year.
It's like +10. I'm like, well, you're an adult now. But like for Judith, I was like, nothing can happen to Judith. And I just noticed I was like really stressed watching it with the baby introduction. So we phased out, but I loved it
I will say this about Cargo. It's not a horror film. It's not a film where you're like constantly afraid they're going to die. It's more just like
his struggle.
He has a ticking clock. Like, he's going to die in 48 hours.
Oh, gosh.
And that's really what drives it. It's not about like, how will I keep my daughter from being eaten now?
I want to see this.
It's what am I going to do to keep her from being eaten?
Hold
for
on
the
a
next 10
second.
years?
Hold on a second. Just got the joke. The daughter is the cargo. Huh? That's the joke, right?
Why is that a joke?
No, it's not the joke. It just clicked for me what I was trying to figure out what the title meant. That's what the title
I'm
means,
pretty
right?
sure that's what the title means, yeah.
It's the baby.
Doesn't feel that funny though.
No, it's not funny, but like
The cargo.
Were you all there earlier?
You know, it's
Much
funny.
earlier?
Ant-Man might have been in the Avengers because he's small.
That's a callback to last week's episode where I shared a very funny joke that many of you have likely shared now with your friends.
I am sure it's the most viral content this site has ever produced.
I am almost certain as well.
Well, I have to check that out.
I'm
very interested.
It's
Cargo.
solid. It's got a nice, tidy, like 100-minute running time. Totally recommend it.
It's a great what if scenario concept. That's why I like it. Remember, you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternateending.com. That's alternateending.com. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. Might want to make
Hey, you know what I just got?
What?
Is you knew that I had written a review of a movie that I thought was good enough to call one of the 5 best movies of May, and you didn't even bother reading the first paragraph of that review.
No, I did not. Is it in there? Is it what's in the first paragraph?
Presumably some sort of plot synopsis.
See, I don't need to. It's do what I say, not do what I do. I'm saying go to our site to do these things that are important. I don't need to do them, but
Right.
others
You need to
should.
do them. You also need to do
I
them.
also should check them out.
Also need
You've
to.
been reviewing movies left and right here, sir.
School's out for summer.
I can't keep up. But hopefully our audience members are keeping up with all of Tim's reviews. You may want to make us watch a movie, pick your own episode topic. You can do it all from our Patreon site. Soon, though, you'll be able to do it from our Members Corner.
How soon?
Well, we're going to be releasing that this week. We're excited. We're not technical experts, so sometimes our first foray into releasing something new on the site might
if you're
not work
listening
out.
to this while staring at like our entire site in the form of like a broken JPEG link, that's why.
Something has gone very wrong. But we've been talking about our Members Corner. Thanks to all this support from the Patreon fundraiser and all the pledges that we've been getting, we're able to move forward with putting that out there. It just makes you able to access the Patreon content a lot easier directly from the site rather than having to go off site to do that. We have other things planned here in the near future as well. So thanks for your continued support on Patreon. We're going to be releasing some exclusive content, I think, with tonight's episode as well too, that you surely will want to check out. Won't want to miss out on that.
Also a callback to last week's episode.
Mm-hmm. Also want to thank all of our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing it is easy. Just go to our website, alternateending.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last episode, here are some things that were purchased. Had some mixed nuts. Purchased the 56-ounce variety.
It's a lot of nuts.
You have a favorite nut? A favorite legume?
Just any nuts. Any nuts I can
I
put
don't
in my
think
mouth.
nuts are legumes, are they?
Well, some things that are marketed as nuts are legumes.
Interesting.
You say it a lot better than I do. I put a lot of emphasis on the U.
Yeah.
You say legume?
I'm not sure which is accurate.
It's legume.
Legume. Yeah, in French it would be legume.
Yeah, I'm not sure which is right here, but yours is certainly not the
That
correct
was the Swedish version. I'm an almond gal.
Almonds are also not a nut, actually.
What is that?
They are the equivalent. So like when you're eating like a pit fruit, like a plum or a peach or such, inside the like craggly nut thing, if you break it open, is a little like almond shaped thing. That's not an almond. I don't think you can eat those.
No, you can't.
But
That gives
that's
you
what
the
an almond
poops.
is.
I don't know that that's actually true.
I think I'm pistachio.
Pistachio is an actual.
And pistachio
is also a legume, I
But
think.
it's not in the mix
damn
of
it.
nuts. They don't put pistachios in
Walnuts-
the mix.
I'm just asking you what's your
walnuts are a
favorite
nut.
nut or legume?
Oh, just nut in general.
My favorite
Pecan?
nut that is a nut is probably pecans are good.
If they're candied,
Yeah.
they're even better.
Yeah.
This is a
Okay,
whole...
so some-
Are we in the purchased items section?
That's where we're
How do
at.
we get on this topic?
I think we need to rebrand. I think we should be a nut, like a
Nut
nut recipe
Nutcast,
podcast.
The Nutcast. Also had some health and personal care vitamins, some B12. What's B12 for? I forget.
Mood.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could.
You could use
I
some of
could use
that.
some.
You could use some
There you go.
B92.
I have a lot of recommendations for you, Robert.
Also, the dog food. Some real roasted lamb, 30-pound bag. Had
Like
some...
a bag, like a lamb.
That dog's only
bag.
3,
Just
just
a
so you
lamb-
know. That dog's
some lamb
very
chops.
young. It's been confirmed the dog's very young.
someone's reached out to you.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So we have some time.
Someone has paid attention
A
to my
very
constant fretting.
kind listener. Yeah, exactly.
I have a cat who is of older extraction, and
She's not old. She's not old.
We also had some
She's 14's getting there.
That's not that old.
tools and hardware purchase, some washing machine shock absorbers. I don't know what you're putting in your washing machine, but we had 4 sets of those purchased.
Nice.
So someone's very concerned.
Someone's beating the shit out of their washing machine.
Perhaps doing some money laundering? I don't know.
Could be.
Bad joke? A lot of the movies they had where they actually launder the money.
Oh, because they're.
Yeah.
Because laundering
Right.
means 2 things that are similar but unrelated.
But you also do it to create like the like it's used money. If it's fake printed money.
Okay.
They did that in the movies in the 80s, I remember. With the chips. They
Well, then
put
it must
with
be true.
What was the actual item that was purchased?
Shock absorbers for a washing
Shock
machine.
absorbers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. You need
This
those.
is going to be the longest.
Sorry.
Sorry, it's a long
We're
read.
going to have a lot of
ever.
overlap, I think.
Also had some Amazon Instant Video or an Amazon Instant Video. Disturbing behavior. Anybody remember that? Katie
eyeball.
Holmes?
Eyeball.
James Marsden? There's an eyeball?
They go and poke them in the
There's
eyeball.
an eyeball poke in there
Yeah.
too.
It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
The yogurt shoppy. What the hell's a shoppy? 2 P's, 1 E?
No.
So the
haven't
yogurt
seen this
shoppy.
movie.
Blu-rays purchase. Prolifo?
Pierrot Le Fou.
Sure. Sounds good.
Really good Jean-Luc Godard movie.
How about Legend of the Mountain?
Oh, wasn't that just purchased last week as well?
Yes.
And I got really excited about it last week.
Yes.
And maybe one of these weeks, will somebody be buying it for me?
Okay. Well, maybe this is the time.
Probably not.
Dark City, the director's cut. We own
Seen
that.
it?
Yeah, we own it.
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
Good.
well, we couldn't find it to rent anywhere, so we just bought it. It was
I
a good
really
deal.
wanted that one with Kiefer Sutherland.
Nice.
Thanks.
Also had The Great Silence. Not familiar.
Yes, Italian movie, 2013, I think. Pretty good.
That's amazing, Tim, that you just
It's like
pulled that out of
a
anywhere.
nice little like Fellini homage.
Also, an Amazon channel free trial, so thank you so much for all your purchases. When we get back...
Which channel?
I don't know.
Is it
Stars.
one of the porn channels?
It doesn't matter. We love all the channels.
They don't actually have
We don't
porn
discriminate.
channels.
They better.
They don't.
That would be pretty
I want to be
sweet.
able to watch Amazon like with the blurry, like staticky sort of color bar thing and try to make out the porn on Amazon because you can't do that anymore because cable doesn't exist, and it's a major part of my adolescence.
I'm gonna have to
instead.
test that out. Yeah.
Well, when we get back, our top 5 Sandra Bullock movies. And welcome back to Altering. We're talking about our top 5 Sandra Bullock movies. Kara, did you know that Sandra Bullock has been acting, making movies for the last 30 years? First feature film that I have is Hangman, 1987. Have not seen it.
It's available on Amazon Prime.
Is it really?
Yeah,
When was she born?
almost
How old
watched
was
it.
she?
When was she born? A lot of questions.
So-
I know she's 54 years old.
So 30 years ago, she would have been 24. So she was probably 23 when she shot it.
Sorry, my math.
Quick math there.
54, so she's 100 years old. Wait, I already said she's 54.
She's 54.
I have no idea.
She was
when
born in 1964.
There you go.
So in 1988, she would have been 24 years old.
Yeah.
How is she 54 years old?
She looks real good.
2018 minus
No,
1964.
I get how the math worked. Well, obviously I didn't get how the math worked, but I don't understand.
Because 54 years and 9 months ago, her parents had sex.
Oh, okay.
It's actually
Now
like
I'm starting to
10
click.
months. I don't want to rain some facts on you, but it's a little more than 9
No, but Kara,
months.
what do you think about when I say Sandra Bullock? What does that evoke to you?
Cutesy.
Okay.
A cutesy fun movie, gal.
Okay.
Sweet.
She's often called America's sweetheart.
Is that
which
what they do?
I feel
Has
like
Has she
that's
ever
a title.
once been called America's
No,
Sweetheart?
that's like
That's
in her
Julia
nickname.
That's Julia
Roberts.
Roberts.
I agree. I'm with you. I'm just saying, like in her nickname, like it's Sandy, and then it's America's
No
sweetheart.
one calls her Sandy but you.
That's what she like
Calls
in
herself?
That's what she
That's
calls
what she
herself.
wants- that's
She
what she wants
edited
to be.
her own Wikipedia page, and you believe it.
Yeah, I don't put her personally in the same league as a Julia Roberts.
No,
Definitely
So-
not.
but she is beloved.
She is
I think we
very
can
much
agree.
so.
Her films are very well regarded. She is clearly the linchpin of Ocean's 8, and that's like everyone's like, see Sandra Bullock and her friends, in the same way that like George Clooney was the linchpin.
But can I
of
tell you,
Ocean's
like,
11.
I think in my mind I have her higher because we all, I think we sat and agreed here, like 40 feature length. We went off of Wikipedia is how many feature length movies, theatrically released movies that she's made. Going through the list, it's like not a strong list.
No.
It's not a good
Yeah, why
list
is
of movies.
that?
Sandra Bullock makes bad movies, and she is frequently bad in them. That was my discovery.
That
of
was
last
me
week.
too, but why in my mind do I have her as like second tier America's sweetheart to Julia Roberts, or like why do I think of her in this
See,
like
I don't think of her that way. Like even after I proposed this, I was like, but I don't like Sandra Bullock, and I know that I don't like Sandra Bullock. So whatever. I don't know why she doesn't have any iconic films really.
nothing.
Like,
But I don't
wh-
think she has anything wildly offensive either.
No, she plays it safe.
She plays it safe.
Let me tell you, 43% average on Rotten Tomatoes for the films for all
It's
those
not
40
great,
films.
no.
Oh, and 75% are rotten. 75% of her movies are
So
rotten.
here's the thing: when The Blind Side happened in 2009. It was very clearly, it wasn't like, here's this out of nowhere performance that Sandra Bullock's going to win an Oscar for. It was like, Sandra Bullock will be cashing in on her accrued, the affection that audiences and critics have for her to finally win that overdue Oscar. And that's what I don't get. Where does the narrative that Sandra Bullock was ever overdue for an Oscar, or was ever like a great A-list movie star, where does that come from?
I don't know.
And I don't mean in the sense of like, I don't like these movies. Like, who likes these movies?
Yeah. No, it's
very confusing.
She plays the type of character that I see her in is like oftentimes like a little bit neurotic but sweet, and no, she's obviously very, very nice to look at, very attractive lady as well too. So great leading lady from that perspective as well. But has some good comedic timing and comedic chops. But yeah, nothing stand out. Nothing from a performance perspective stands out to me. So I don't know why in my mind I have her as being this big movie star. There's a site called Bankability or something like that, movies.com or something. They have her as number 2. They've done some sort of math and figures out like how much of a contribution does the star, does that particular star have in contributing to a movie's success. And she's worth number 2. Next, right behind Tom Cruise is Bankability.
What?
How much worth she brings
This
to a particular
cannot
movie.
be current figures.
No, it's up to date.
No.
She's ahead of Denzel Washington.
How is post The Mummy Tom Cruise still number 1?
It's how much value does that having that person add to the movie.
So they're saying that The Mummy would have like set money on fire if it hadn't had Tom Cruise in it.
And I wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't.
She's not a person that I run to a movie to see, though. There's those people that, like, if you had to say who's your number one actress that you don't know anything about the movie, but you know they're in it, who is that for you?
Helen Mirren.
Well, that's for sure. I could have told you that. I knew that.
Julie Roberts at a time.
Yeah.
And honestly, probably prior to reviewing her filmography, like I for some reason in my mind, Sandra Bullock is good. And it's not that she's a bad actress.
She's not bad.
She's not a bad actress.
She's in very bad films.
Yeah, it's just
some are okay.
Some are good. Some are real good.
So how many of
some
her
are 28 Days?
How many of her mostly not so good movies have you seen, Kara?
I have seen 14.
That's not bad for
I
you.
actually thought it was going to be a lot more because I felt like I'd seen them all. And then I went through the list and was like, oh, she was in a lot more than I anticipated.
Well, she was in a lot before she was in anything anybody had seen, which is what I did not realize. I didn't know how much of her, like, because she sort of came out of nowhere with Demolition Man in 1993. She'd been in a lot prior to that point. And, like, no one's seen any of it.
No. I've seen Love Potion number 9.
I bet you own it.
I know. A few audience
you
members
sleep
have
with a
seen
copy under your pillow, sir.
How about you, Tim? How many movies have you seen?
As of now, it's up to 16. That number was a good deal lower a week ago today.
Okay. I feel good. Anybody who started their career in the 90s, I feel really good about. I've seen 32.
Holy shit.
And the few that I have, there are only like 5 that I haven't seen. It's the ones that you speak of, like the prior to Love Potion number 9, like those things that happened in the 90s, like early 90s.
32.
3 that I've missed in the recent era that I'm surprised I missed. In Love and War with Chris O'Donnell.
That movie,
you're going to give us a weird list.
Evaporated. Like no one saw that.
Don't tell us what you haven't
Infamous and Loverboy. I'm going to say it.
Then we're going to know.
I'm going to say it. No.
Now I know your
I've
list.
seen one of those.
You've seen which one? Oh, Infamous. You've probably
I've seen Infamous.
Good. We'll see. We'll see if it makes your list.
We'll see if it makes my list.
So adjusted for inflation, her highest grossing movies are Minions, voice actress.
Sure.
The Blind Side, which we talked about. That was her
Oscar
bait kind of movie. Gravity.
Sure.
What was that? Oh, yeah.
It was about
No.
floating.
I got it. I know that movie.
But on average, she brings in $103 million. So pretty, I mean, domestically. So that's a pretty nice figure.
Yeah, no,
per
despite
film.
my befuddlement, I know people love her.
Yeah.
I know that she's like well regarded. Like people view her, they watch her movies when they need cheering up on a rainy day. I feel like my life intersects with none of these people. And I just don't get that.
So, Kara, when you were going about picking your top 5 Sandra Bullock movies, what were you basing that criteria on?
My criteria? So before I get to my criteria, remember how much you guys loved when we played the Steven Spielberg movies game?
I do not remember that.
Do you remember you participated and didn't patronize at all when we did that?
I remember the game.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So I never actually called back to this, even though thousands and thousands of people submitted their guesses at how many times we used Steven Spielberg movie quotes. The answer was actually 25, and the winner was a guy named Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill. There was no winner. No one actually submitted responses. But here is the thing. I think what we should do for this one is see how many times...
If you say Sandra Bullock quotes, I'm walking out of this room and going back to the other podcast.
No. So I wish I had a Sandra Bullock quote right when you said that. I don't. So see how many times you can layer in titles of her movies to the podcast.
Did you come up with this while you were sleeping?
I mean, it was just a proposal, so it's going to be like that.
I get it.
Okay.
See what we did? Do you get what we did, Rob?
The gravity of what you just did
Nothing. Sorry, don't stop using these things right now. Okay. So back it up a notch. Those don't count, and they only count once. You can
But
can't
we can
say,
start over.
I can't be like, hey, you, gravity, and then you'd be like, gravity, and that only counts as one. Okay?
And someone's going to count this.
Last time you said my rules were a little flimsy. Here's where the rules lie. Send your submissions on how many titles were used throughout this podcast to contact@alternateending.com. Okay? And how many times we use titles, starting after I say go, not including the introduction of our top 5s. Like when we say, oh, well, my top 5 is Hangman or whatever that movie was.
Okay.
You can't use that one. Okay?
Sounds good.
Are you guys up for this?
I'm up for this.
And do we have a choice?
No. And I don't want to be left alone. I did all the Steven Spielberg quotes last time.
I don't think you did.
Here's one that you guys missed. So I listened back to the episode when there were 25 quotes that were used in the Steven Spielberg episode. You guys missed one. I used the word bad date, and you didn't catch it. I said, I saw it on a bad date, and Tim was like, oh, that's too bad. Bad date is an actual Steven Spielberg quote.
It is an actual Steven Spielberg quote.
So that's where things are going to get a little
good.
tricky.
That might have been the one good one you had.
It was really good. It was so good. I laughed to myself alone when I listened. So here we go.
Okay, we're on.
Ready? Go.
All right, we got this, Rob. We're forces of nature.
Yeah.
Okay. So my criteria is that Sandra Bullock had to write, actress, voice, direct, or produce the movie.
Oh my God, no. Care?
No, it just has to, Sandra Bullock movies. It has to, the
She's
full
produced
realm.
a ton of stuff.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know I just went to the full list of her stuff and then I picked the good ones.
But she could potentially not be in the movie? Like an actress in the movie?
I don't know. We'll see when we get there. What's your criteria?
Wait.
My criteria is that she had to be in the movie.
Okay.
And then from there, how did you rank your top 5?
Quality of movie?
So it was it's not. So if she happens to be in the movie, you didn't do it on performance.
No, I mean I cast a wide net on this one, but for at the same time, I was like, I can zero in on the ones that
Well,
were
how
really
long did
good.
this take you? Like 28 days?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
See, now we each have one and you don't have one yet.
I said net. Do I have to say the net?
I think you do.
No, you have
Because
to
I was
put the
I
proper-
spent
That one
like
didn't
4
count.
minutes trying to come up with something that wasn't the vanishing.
All right, so net did not count.
Okay.
Okay, it has to be
Neither
the full
did the
title.
vanishing.
That has to be
So
the full
you need
title.
to catch the full title in the net of your game.
Exactly. So that's my criteria. What's yours, Rob?
Oh, we're going to me?
He just said
Apparently.
it has to be
Oh,
in it.
okay.
No. I actually have more criteria.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit more,
You're just
something
being
more
rude.
substantive
Okay.
than anything she's ever touched tangentially.
It has to be a film in which she appears, for God's sake. And I didn't want to go necessarily by quality of movie because there's one particular movie that's great, like a great movie. I'm not going to say what it is in case one of you have it. I don't want to insult it.
I have a premonition about it, but just keep going.
I like it. So there's a specific movie that would have been on my list if I was just doing by quality, but Sandra Bullock is like an active demerit to this film, so I didn't want to count it. So it's a triangulation between how good is the movie and how much value do I feel that Sandra Bullock herself brings to the film.
Okay.
Like, is it something where I think that it would not be improved by replacing her with Julia Roberts, which disqualifies it tremendously. from a Sandra Bullock
That's
film.
not a criteria I could have. No.
That would be really tough for me. No, I did contribution to the film too because there are a couple movies that she's in as a secondary supporting actress where I actually liked the quality of the movie, but I can't remember her. Like I can't think of her what she did in that particular movie, so I don't want to think that's not up for consideration.
Yeah.
And then I would have done it maybe slightly based more on performance. But then there's the challenge of finding some like top-notch Sandra Bullock performances outside of.
I think there's one.
There's one or two, potential. So I would be very limited. So I just went more based on how much I like the movie in which she played a more central role in, and that's how I ranked my top 5. And it was extremely loud and incredibly close.
Yeah, I get that. So
we're ready for our lists?
We're ready for our
the
list.
The heat is on.
The heat is on, and
You're losing by a lot, just so you know.
Am I?
I think so.
I don't know. We'll find out.
And I mean, you just told us it's not like you gave us 2 weeks notice or anything so we could prepare for it.
I gave you 28 days. So the first one I'm going to start off with is one that's a classic. Everybody loves it, but I only actually remember one major scene from it. So it didn't rise to the top for me, but this is 1994's action-packed on a bus, Speed.
So is there any possibility that this did not make everyone's list
It did.
somewhere?
And it made it my number 1. You're stealing.
Speed is your number 1?
Absolutely.
What do you remember other than the bus and they're just trying to get off
That's
the bomb off
all
the bus?
that matters.
I don't know.
Well, that is all that matters, and that is why it is my number 4.
You're number 4. Okay.
No, it's my number 1. Absolutely my number 1. Yes.
Well, I'll tell a teeny bit about it, and then you tell us why it's number 1 versus number 5. So this is directed by Jan de Bont.
Jan de Bont.
Jan de Bont. That's exactly right. And written by Graham Yost. And it stars Keanu Reeves, which notches it to number 5 immediately.
I feel like yes.
Yeah, right? So Dennis Hopper, who actually should have brought, this is why he's probably on the list, is because of Dennis Hopper, and then Sandra Bullock in as well. So
this is the first time I took notice of Sandra Bullock, to be honest.
The first time the bulk of the world took notice of Sandra Bullock.
Really?
Love Potion number 9. Folks.
Do you want to tell us?
That doesn't count because it's as the title, so it doesn't count.
Tell us what it's about.
What it's
and
about.
Why you loved it.
No, sure. A young police officer must prevent a bomb from exploding on a city bus. It cannot go above 50 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So it's a cat and mouse game.
Is that what it cannot do?
That is what it cannot do.
It cannot go above 50 miles an hour.
Oh, the bomb goes
Or
off.
go below. Sorry.
Can I go below?
Sorry, below.
Sorry.
Because
Yeah,
it's called speed and not parking
super,
brake.
super slow. The movie would have ended much sooner. But no, first time I noticed her because she plays this she captured
she's
my
a pedestrian,
she
right?
captured my attention.
Well, she's
not a pedestrian.
bus-
she's actually she's on the bus.
Is she the bus driver?
No, she's
No.
riding the bus, which by
right, yeah.
definition makes her not a pedestrian.
Bus driver
that's
gets
what I meant.
shot early on. It's not a spoiler for those who haven't seen Speed. But just kind of her neurotic, I don't know. She captured my attention. She was fun, quirky.
Sure.
Really enjoyed this movie. This one is my favorite movie of the Sandra Bullock movies. Just because it's the one I want to watch on repeat. If I had to watch one on repeat, this would be the one I would choose of all of her movies. It's fun. It's action-packed. People have called it Die Hard on the Bus, which is why there was a lot of concern whether or not this movie would actually make any money. And yet it still made a ton of money. It made $350 million, but also was critically acclaimed for the most part. I think it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes as well too. So it was one of the year's most successful films.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
The fact that this film made my top 5 was one of the early indications of how little use I had for Sandra Bullock's filmography, because it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever.
Won 2 Oscars, Tim.
So
what?
did fucking
Speediest movie.
lots of shit. It
Sound
won
and
sound
editing.
and sound editing. Yeah.
What sound is there in this?
There's the bus.
Yeah.
Makes noises.
Oh.
A lot of tense. It was a tense movie.
Sure.
Again,
Yeah, it was.
we were just talking about what if movies. This is a good concept, high concept.
It's a nice, solid 90s action movie. I have nothing really to
Agreed.
say against it other than that I don't love it, but it's good.
Didn't know about this until researching. Joss Whedon rewrite took place here. Kind of early Joss Whedon, and then that I guess punched up the script a little bit of dialogue.
It does have some quips.
Yeah, some quippiness. Jeff Daniels, I think, forgotten sometimes in this movie. I actually really enjoyed watching Jeff Daniels in this movie as well too.
So that's your number 1. So that was my number 5.
That's my
so
number 4.
Now it's your number 5.
That's my number 5. All right, so my number 5, hang on, was actually a film that might potentially rise up. I might see clear in the future to say it's actually a better film than Speed. It's certainly a better Sandra Bullock film.
Okay.
Well, don't be gun shy, Tim. Spill it.
Just tell us.
I will, I just saw this. I'm sorry. He took one I was going to use. I was going to use exactly that.
Is it the movie Gunshot?
There's a movie called Gunshy.
No, I know, but is your number 4
No.
Gunshot? Well,
No,
then
I
why
was just-
you just told everybody for no reason at all?
I just got thrown.
Oh.
It bothered me. So anyway, it's a movie I just watched this week as part of my Sandra Bullock lineup, which is why I think it might possibly rise in my estimation later on if I rewatch it. This is the 2000 FBI comedy Miss Congeniality.
It's my number 3.
All right.
Oh, you two are pretty close together. here. Very nice.
This isn't on your list?
It did not make my list.
Tim, tell us why you love Miss
So Miss
Congeniality.
Congeniality, my number 5 film of an actress who I could barely come up with a number 2, let alone a top 5. No, so this is a movie in which Sandra Bullock plays an FBI agent who is a bit of a frump, a bit crude. She has a really obnoxious laugh. She chews with her mouth open. She's just kind of unladylike. Unfortunately, when a bomb threat is called in to a beauty pageant, she's the best opportunity they have to get someone on the inside at the beauty pageant, which means she's going to have to learn, and quick, how to be glamorous and elegant.
A lady.
How to be a lady.
That's right.
With the help of Michael Caine
Love Michael Caine.
being delightful in a very
Is he ever not,
trivial.
though?
He frequently.
Really?
Sometimes he's just not trying.
I like Michael Caine so much.
He's usually good. There are things where he's just not trying. In this case, he is kind of weirdly trying, and it's like this sort of frivolous nothing of a role that he really just makes pleasurable. But it's a high concept. I think it plays with the high concept pretty damn well. It is real hard for me to imagine the film not being worse if any other, and that was the criteria.
Yeah.
If anyone else was
That's
in
a good
Sandra
point.
Bullock's position,
I would agree.
That's a good point.
because it needs to be this really tight tight combination of course she has to be gorgeous.
Right.
Like, it can't actually be a frump.
Right.
Like, you can't put like Carol Channing in this role.
Or Carol.
Well, I mean, Carol Channing was sort of like eternally 47 years old. That was her shtick. Well, I would watch this movie with Carol Channing. Anyway, it needs to be someone who's gorgeous, but someone who's like capable of seeming junky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does that well.
And she does that well. Like, she's never believably, like, you're never going to believe that Sandra Bullock's not a gorgeous woman. Like, that's just not in the cards. But she does kind of sell the, like, the braying laugh and the clumping walk.
Yep.
And she does that really well. So, like, that convinces me that this sort of ridiculous concept is actually working. And it's funny.
It is funny.
And I wasn't expecting it to be funny.
It also has remember, if you were going to have an affair on Helen Mirren, it has your second lady in it.
Who's that?
Candice Bergen.
Oh, it does have Candice Bergen. I was very excited.
Murphy Brown?
I've had this like
Murphy
reawakening of my ardor towards Candice Bergman after book club.
Also made your top picks for the month.
So good.
Book club's good.
It's so good.
You get to think about Candice Bergen.
She's
touching
good in
herself.
here. That's right. You just think about that, Rob.
I'm going to.
Later today.
But it was your number 3. Do you have anything to add into?
No. Other than that, it was just fun. It was just fun, and like
It was
a movie
just
that you're
fun.
like,
It's enough to get up on our number 3.
Well, it's one of those movies that you're like, why do I love this so much? And I'm not a pageantry type of person. Like, I'm more of probably the frumpy
But
Sandra.
it takes shots at that.
It totally does.
Which is fun
and
too,
I like
yeah.
the humor, and it was funny, and I don't know. It's one of those guilty pleasures. I could watch it all day, just like you and Speed, Rob. So that's why it made me number 3.
I think it's easy watching. That's why I had it just outside my top 5. Number 5 for me is going to be a little bit surprising because I'll say this is probably her best performance. So it might be stealing one of yours. I'm talking about 2013's Gravity.
You have stolen my number 1.
That's
I'm
my
sorry.
number
Well, it's
4.
only fair with my 5.
We should have talked
to
about
one.
overlap. We never have this much overlap.
No, this makes sense. I mean, again, her filmography is such
Is
where,
fairly narrow.
like, we're going to have overlap.
Sure.
And
well, just y'all wait. I have Hope Floats showing up. I don't have Hope Floats showing up.
No, you
We
don't.
haven't
Hope
seen
Floats was very bad.
this is
I've
for
heard
me
nothing good about Hope Floats.
by far the movie where I'm like, oh my god, like she can act and not just play a Miss Congeniality, Speed, kind of generic,
More
rom-com.
dramatic.
Like, this is where
movie.
I'm seeing her like emote things.
Totally.
And and it's just her primarily for the entirety of the movie.
Her and Georgie.
He's only in
Yeah.
a fragment of the film.
So she carries this movie entirely on her own back, and it's a great performance. It's something that sticks with me. Directed by a director I love,
Alfonso
Cuarón. Children of Men, Utu Mama Tambien. Did I actually get it?
Y tu mamá
Tam-
también.
Dang it!
Y tu también.
Also, A Little Princess, Harry Potter, and
Yes.
the Prisoner of Azkaban. Others that sort of weirdly magnetic, even though it's shitty, Great Expectations with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually didn't mind that.
I didn't mind it, even though
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's still got sort of a thing.
So a winner of, I don't have it written down, but 7 Oscars?
6 or 7.
Six
It was
or
the
7?
win leader, even though it lost Best Picture ultimately, though it did win Best Director.
And this for me was like, wow. Like, again, Sandra Bullock acting, and it gets it for me. It's not my favorite movie. It's one that I probably don't want to watch again necessarily. Like, I don't need to. I feel like
I'd watch it
a
again.
single watching was complete for me. But certainly enough drama in here to keep me going. And yeah, it's your number 1, Tim.
For me, it's like, it's all the things you just mentioned. I think it's Sandra Bullock playing a really a version of a grieving mother that's as convincing as it needs to be. Like, this is not a great psychodrama, but it is a great amount of psychological introspection for a popcorn spectacle, which is basically all I think you can look for. So that really works for me. The film itself, I love the creativity in how to stage things. And like, the whole thing is animated. Like, it's all in CGI. Basically, the only real thing in it is her face and upper body. But like, that freedom that Cuarón and the cinematographer Emmanuel Lubezki have to just send the camera all over. It's just so amazing. And like, I have watched this multiple times. I've watched it on my TV, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, I loved it in theaters and it sucked on TV. I have a big TV and I have a big 3D TV, so that helped. But like, it holds up.
Is this a movie that warrants the 3D viewing?
I've only ever seen it in 3D, so I
Wow.
can't speak to whether it holds up in 2D.
Okay, because I avoid 3D typically. So this is
it in theaters. It
Yeah.
was like it might be my favorite 3D movie.
wow. Kara, did you see this on the cruise? I was watching the kids like on a cruise, and you went to go see it with your folks or my parents. I can't remember what
I
the
have no idea
situation was.
where I saw this. But you didn't even see what it's about. Let me tell you what it's about.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Set it up.
So Ryan Stone is a medical engineer who is Sandra Bullock, and she goes off on her first space mission. And then her partner, Matt, is George Clooney, and he goes, and this is his last ride before retirement. Despite not being that old and still being very handsome, he's going to retire, whatever. So anyway.
Space is hard on your body.
That's true, for sure. All that like food doesn't age you well, like that space food stuff. So during a routine spacewalk, issues arise and they get trapped out in deep space.
Something crashes into their spaceship.
Right. I mean, it was a huge crash. And so they get sucked into a black hole? You don't know. Will they be lost forever? You don't know. Will they make it back to Earth? You don't know. And that is the movie. If you haven't seen it, because I don't think everyone's seen this.
I thought it was pretty infamous, so I didn't bother wanting to set
it's
it up.
more recent. People haven't seen it. I have, and
I
that's
think
why
it's lucky
it's really
that
good.
when debris was falling, it didn't fall on the lake house.
Yeah, you know what though? But it could have, and if that would have happened, I mean, that would have been bad.
I had another one, but now I feel like it'll just sound stupid if I say it.
You would.
Okay.
So save it. So.
Well, no, it has to be about space debris because I was going to be like, if space debris fell on a man named Steve, the newspaper headlines would be all about Steve. But now I just feel dumb.
I mean, actually,
But I still get a point for that
you
one.
get a point, and actually, I think it was very clever, and no one will know.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So that was number.
Now, number 40. 40?
No, that was my number 4.
We've now done her
I'm so
5.
I have
confused.
3
4
through
and
5 is
3.
done, so I'm down to 2.
We've done my 5 and 1.
I also have 5 and 1
So
covered.
you're at 4.
Or my 4, okay. No, because my 4 was speed.
Oh,
So we're at your 3, Kara?
what is in this wine? I just feel very lost right now.
I mean, it's practical magic is what's in there.
It feels like it. It feels like Love Potion number 9 to me. Is that a movie?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So am I to number 2? No, that feels too weird. Am I at my number 2?
I mean, figure it out. We got plenty of a time to kill.
Okay. So I will. Don't laugh so much. Come on.
You're
All right.
laughing
So
just as much.
I'm not. I'm being very subtle. So my number 2 is one that is so good, and I was toying between having this be number 1 or number 2 for me. So this is my number 2.
Wait, so you only have 2 movies? You have how many movies do you have left?
I have 2 left.
Oh, we got her
one and her 2.
We got to go to you, Tim. We want to go to hers. I have like 3 movies left.
I have 2 movies left also.
Oh, okay.
A lot
Well,
of overlap.
if we're at her number 2, though, and we're at my number 3, and we're at your number 3.
I should go, right? Should I go?
Have we done your number 4?
No, I have.
Then we should do
I
your
have
number
All right,
4.
do
three
your
movies.
number 4.
All right, number 4.
Very
to me.
organized.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go. Don't take mine. You're gonna take mine now.
In the early '90s, the internet was just kind of hitting its stride, and I wanted to be a hacker so bad. I didn't know what hacking was. I was 13 years old at the time, but I knew I wanted to use my computer for nefarious activity or like for the good, like
Nefarious
more
activity.
like Robin Hood type of hacking. These were the AOL days, the ping bong. Bing.
Loved AOL.
Yeah. Did I do the sound right?
Sure.
Then came along Sandra Bullock's movie, The Net. And here she was, hacker extraordinaire, computer programmer, stumbles upon a conspiracy, a little thriller, putting her life and the lives of those around her in great danger.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Is it still, so I'm not on the net very often anymore as my life were. And is it still a thing? Do you still go in chat rooms and say they don't exist anymore?
I mean, I'm sure they exist.
I used to Yahoo chat quite a bit back in the day.
I think you can Facebook chat.
But I mean, like with unknown people. And when you did you guys?
I mean,
used
do
to
we ever really know each other?
I mean, did you guys ever do when you were younger ever do the thing where you'd be like ASL ?
A single language,
No.
a single lady?
Age, sex, location.
No, I have no idea.
American Sign Language.
No,
But
you
if you're
did it. Tim,
typing-
you did this. You did ASL.
I never did chat.
I didn't chat.
I
chat
was
rooms.
and am a technophobe, and I use communication media online as little as possible, as my Twitter followers will know.
Not savvy at all, but I used to go out into the Yahoo chats, and you'd be like ASL, and you'd be like 15FIL, and then people would be like, oh.
15 for 11.
That was 15 female Illinois at the time.
Back to
You
the
didn't
net.
do this?
I did
Okay,
not.
sorry.
No.
I
This
thought
was
we were
the
gonna
first movie
commiserate.
that I can recall that was specifically about the net. That was not the movie Hackers with Angelina Jolie.
Same
Was it the
season,
same year?
same
year?
summer, I believe.
Okay. So those two movies coming out at the same time was like super big for young Rob.
And this was right around the time that the X-Files had like those geek hackers.
X-Files, yes, absolutely.
It was a moment in culture.
And this is totally a 90s movie.
Oh my God, it's such a...
Trapped in a time capsule.
This
Have you
is
seen
totally... I just saw it this week.
Oh, okay, good.
It's really bad.
It's really bad.
But it's like bad and like, oh my God, this is this is like July 95 in pill form.
Yes. So yeah, if you want to take a trip down memory lane, go visit the net. It's a movie that I hold near and dear to my heart, directed by Irwin Winkler, who brought us Guilty by Suspicion at First Sight, unfortunately.
You're just laughing because his name was Winkler.
Life as a House. There's plenty of good
smirking.
Winklers in there. No, I was laughing because he's not a great director.
So you're saying The Net was not made by a great director?
No, it wasn't, which is surprising because I really enjoyed it. Also, the first had a little Dennis Miller in there for some comedic effect, and
that's the thing. It had Dennis Miller, not for some comedic effect.
That's true. He didn't really. He's just doing Dennis Miller.
He's
if
playing.
you find him funny.
He's playing there. He's not even. It's the thing. It's not a comic role.
Yeah.
He's playing the romantic lead.
Oh, that's right. I guess it's as much of a Dennis Miller role as was in the Michael Douglas, Demi Moore, also
Indecent Proposal.
No. The one with the virtual reality.
Yeah. Disclosure.
Like Disclosure. Thank you. Same type of Dennis Miller. Like Dennis Miller in the 90s, like that was his thing kind of. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. That's my number 4.
Okay.
All right.
So
Let's go to my number 2?
I now have 2 left. So now
all
we
right,
go
to my number 2. This is on both of your lists 100% because my mom loved it, which means Tim will love it, and Rob, you'll love it because your man crush is in this as well.
I don't think your mom loved any of my
My mom
movies.
loved this one.
I'm pretty confident based on the man crush comment that this is also my number, whatever we're at, 3.
I'm at 2, but so this is 2009's The Proposal.
That is my number 3.
For sure.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Is this a recent catch up for you, Tim?
No, I saw this
Okay.
when it was in theaters.
Okay.
I liked it a lot.
So good. So good. So this is 2009's The Proposal, directed by and written by Anne Fletcher. It has Rob's man, Ryan Reynolds, Mary Steenburgen, who is Tim's lady,
sure
Craig T.
is.
Nelson, who could be my man.
Oh, wow. They were also in
Yes.
book club.
They were. I know.
I didn't
know.
recognize that.
I
That's
saw
so
that.
good.
They're so cute together. And then what really pushes it over the edge, Betty White is in
yeah.
this with a standout performance. So this is Margaret Tate is Sandra Bullock. She plays this high-powered editor who happens to be Canadian, unfortunately. And I'll tell you why later. Not because, I would actually move to Canada.
Because Canadians are
I love
filthy
Canada.
people.
I would actually love to move there. But anyway.
They reek of poutine.
They have the best fast food restaurants I've ever been to in my whole life there. What are they called, Rob?
Tim Horton.
Tim Horton.
Is that a restaurant? I thought it was just donuts.
No, it's bagels. It's everything you could ever
so
want.
it's just round pastries with a hole in the middle.
Could be.
What they have.
I don't know. It has everything I've ever needed. And then what happened in this movie was, I don't really know. Okay, so she goes out.
She has to
She loses her citizenship.
Right.
And so she has to pretend to be married to Ryan Reynolds, who's this guy named Andrew. And she has...
Who's her employee, and she's a terrible boss.
She's a terrible boss. And so she's like, he's like, well, if you promote me, then yeah, I'll marry you. And so but there's a guy that's watching them. And so they have to pretend that they're married. He's
Right.
watching to
Like
make sure that
he has
they
to
are.
pretend to be her
It's a
lover boy.
ruse. So they go out. So she goes and meets his family, which Betty White's his grandma, which how could it possibly be any better than that? And they have to go the extra mile to make their relationship believable. But along the way, do they end up maybe liking each other? I don't know. I won't say.
Tim, I was this close to a green card marriage. This close. Had
This is true.
Had offer on the table. $15,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Polish, right?
Ended up picking Carrie.
I only gave him $5,000 because I'm cheap, but still.
No, it's a humorous movie. You're right, Betty White.
This is actually a
does.
true story, though. Rob did almost marry somebody. So
It was
that
close.
They could stay in the country.
Yeah.
Didn't your dad want you to?
Oh yeah.
Something
Support
weird like
support
that.
the Polish culture.
You guys are all
Help some
weird for
people out.
money. The things you'll do for money. But anyway, so funny, so sweet. You could watch it with anybody, and Betty White. That's why. My number 2.
Yeah, no, this is a movie for me that at a time when the romantic comedy as a genre was fading. It hadn't completely died off, but in 2009 it was on its last legs, and I think even at the time it was pretty obvious. It's just such a like perfect version of the like the 90s/2000s version of the romantic comedy, and that it's contrived and kind of like mean-spirited, but in a way that's really appealing because the actors just sort of force it to be
Totally.
so. Again, this is another one where like I just don't think you could do a better job of casting than Sandra Bullock.
Agreed.
Really fun concept, really cool getting to see both of these characters are kind of like prickly and unpleasant at the start, and they both sort of melt, and Betty White is like a huge catalyst for that melting.
I know.
This is the Betty White movie.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. It's our top 5 Sandra Bullocks, but it would be our top 5 Betty
And
Whites
if you were
as well.
going to cheat on Mary Steenburgen, it would be with Betty White. So she's like your third.
Couldn't I have like a threesome?
I'll ask.
All right.
I'll check into that.
Next
for
time you
you.
talk to Betty, see if
That's
she
right.
But yeah, no, it's a very satisfying, unusually, disarmingly satisfying romantic comedy that's just like fun and makes me really root for them to get together.
Totally.
Which is a real feat given how
much you
thoroughly
hate
the
romantic
first
comedies.
I love romantic comedies. No, just how well the first act sets up that especially Sandra Bullock is just not a likable character.
Agreed.
But you still like end up really, really rooting,
Loving her.
because it's her performance and also
Yeah.
the narrative arc. It's really
She's
solid.
a working girl. He's a working guy, but yet they just figure it out. So,
Nice.
do you have another one?
I have my number 2.
That's all you have left?
That's all I have
And
left.
Carrie, you only have one left?
I have my number 1.
Well, then I will go with my number 2, which has a movie that has been remade based on its plot of the famous Loeb and Leopold murders. If you're murders that the two committed. It's the 4th adaptation of that. The most famous one, I think, prior to this was Rope, Alfred Hitchcock's Rope.
Although that's also the loosest. That's the only one that's sort of like an implicit version of the story.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The other 3 are all explicit.
Okay. This one was Murder by Numbers.
Oh,
that
A little
one.
off type for
I
Sandra
tried
Bullock.
to find it, and I was going to watch it this week. Is it
It's
good?
totally a Rob movie.
Is it scary?
It features. It's not scary. It's a thriller.
Tense.
Michael Pitt and Ryan Gosling stars 2 gifted high school students who want to execute a perfect murder. They're in high school, but then they become engaged in an intellectual contest with a seasoned homicide detective played by Sandra Bullock. So a little back and forth. Also, I think what was hitting on all cylinders for me was the tension between Ryan Gosling. Really the first time I noticed him. I know he had been in things much earlier than this, kind of playing more high school type movies as a jock or whatever, but like this was his first dramatic role. But there was some kind of like underlying tension going on between Sandra and Ryan that really made for it being a little extra spicy. You find out later that they had a relationship that started out on set here that lasted a little bit over a year. So if you like Dexter, if you like 13 Reasons Why, which we've talked about a little bit, this is a pretty good movie for that. Like this one only
Murder
gets
by
31% of Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, Murder by Numbers. And Michael Pitt, are you a fan?
I think he's very good at the thing he does, but the thing he does is like kind of deliberately unpleasant to watch.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant person to see on screen, and most of the characters I've seen him play not great. So he's perfect as a kind of sadistic kind of killer, potentially killer. So yeah, these 2 high school students just want to see what it would be like to kill someone, so they plot the perfect murder.
Yeah.
Directed by Barbet Schrader,
Yeah.
Barfly, and Single White Female.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. That's all.
Barbara Schroeder has some important German films,
Okay.
if I recall correctly. I think I'm thinking of the right.
So
person.
neither of you have seen this film?
No, and
No,
actually,
I
I
wanted
completely
to.
fucked up. I thought you were going for a totally different thing, and I heard Leopold and Loeb, and my mind blanked.
Oh, okay. The surprising thing for me about this movie is it cost $50 million in 2002.
That's a lot of numbers to be
Why?
murdered by.
That's ridiculous. That to me is why this movie is not spoken of or talked about. It failed at the box office because it could never make that. Like this isn't what I just described to you is not a $50 million budget movie.
No, it's like
unless it's all
like
going to.
It's like a $9
Sandra
million
Bullock.
little seedy pot boiler.
Yeah, and that's what it should have been. I don't know what they spent $50 million on. So, but it's one that I think about often. Actually, every once in a while, this movie crosses my mind. So it's a good flick.
I when I was building my list out of the movies I wanted to catch up with, this was on that list, but that Rotten Tomato score kept it pretty low to the bottom of the list.
Ryan Gosling, if you want to see him in a way that you have not seen him before, like just super creepy.
Do we see Ryan's Gosling? If
No,
you
we
know what I mean?
we do maybe if that's enough to make you go see it.
Well, I mean, that's the way I've never seen him.
What's Ryan Gosling?
It's a joke about his penis, Carrie.
Do you see? Oh, you don't see that.
No, you don't. With
I
that,
don't think he's
unless it
ever
sweetens the
showed his
deal.
Gosling.
I don't know. What's the NC-17 movie he did with the
Can you
Michelle
Google
Williams?
it?
Blue Valentine, which there is
Do a
definitely
quick
not.
do a quick Google Ryan's Gosling
Right.
and see what comes up.
Do an image search, Tim.
Image search, yeah.
There'll be a lot of peen showing up on your phone shortly. You don't need to do that, Tim.
I'm not going to do that.
No,
I'm curious
you really
to see
should.
though if he's
You
done
really
nude.
should. Yeah.
While Tim is seeing if Ryan Gosling has done nude care, are we at your number 2 then?
No, we're at my number 1.
Number 1.
I really hope
And-
your number 1 is my number 2. It'll be so great if we have like the same
I don't
5.
think it's likely.
I actually don't know what this could be.
I don't know. In the heat of the moment, I had to pick up the movie that I just would watch, like something that makes me smile, something that makes me laugh, something that I love. Something
Oh, you know what?
that
There's that scene in Crazy Stupid Love where he's naked, but Steve Carell's head is in the way.
Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah, no.
I think that's
Funny
the
scene.
only. I think that's the only.
And he has a banana hammock on during
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, I checked. So
Like
Carrie's very active on Mr. Skin.
In the narrative of the film, though,
know what
he's
that
like
is.
supposed to be naked because
Yeah.
Carell's supposed to be staring at his dog.
right. I like that scene. So was I on my number 1? Yeah.
number 1.
Okay.
We'll just talk about Ryan Gosling's wang.
I feel a little
through
bit
Carrie.
flustered right now. So yeah, I was a little bit on the blind side of this one, but here's my number 1. I love it. And you should too. What if I said the word eyebrows?
That doesn't connote anything.
I would still think Miss Congeniality. getting
Exactly.
eyebrows
Yeah, that's
waxed.
the thing.
You don't get anything when I say eyebrows?
Oh, while you were sleeping.
Yeah. That's
Peter
what it is.
Gallagher's eyebrows.
Peter Gallagher. Yeah.
Peter Gallagher's eyebrows.
I just watched this one as well, and I found it wanting.
Really? I don't know if I want to watch it again because it's from 1995 and I watched it several times.
It's not as like unfettered
sweet.
in its 95-ness as The Net is, but it's pretty 95.
Yeah, but so you have to take it for the value it was at the time. At the time, you've got Sandra Bullock, Bill Pullman, Peter Gallagher / eyebrows. And so what happens is Lucy's life consists of constant loneliness, and she's like what do you call her?
She takes
dimes,
tokens at the CTA.
Right, in
I will say,
Chicago.
movie has some beautiful Chicago location photography. Made me want to move back there
That's
so hard.
another reason why it moved to number 1 for me. The cinematography was just off the charts on this one. And so I love how then Peter, who's kind of a dill hole, he ends up falling into...
Well, we really don't know anything about Peter.
Yeah, but he ends up almost dying.
But we don't know he's not we don't think he's almost
But
dying
he's
because
not
he's a dill
he's
hole.
not smiling at her and not being polite. So I knew.
Maybe he has
I
lots
knew.
of stuff on his mind.
That could be true.
Maybe he's thinking about Ryan Gosling's sweaty naked body.
That's a distinct possibility. So he almost dies. Sandra Bullock saves him, and now they all think that she's part of the family. She's like she had a crush on him for this whole time that he comes and gets on the train. So she shows up and has this ruse that's going on where she was the girlfriend this whole
But
time.
it's an accident.
Right.
I think we need to specify that she doesn't intend to do this.
Oh, no,
Otherwise,
right.
she sounds like a total sociopath.
Right. So yeah, he accidentally falls. She helps save him, and then
No, I mean it's an accident that it's like she's not like, aha, now I will pretend to be his fiance. Like that's
right,
the
right, right.
accident.
That's
'Cause she seems wicked and weird if that's not the case. Because
There's
for
lots of
23
accidents.
years, that's what I thought it was, and that's why I never watched it.
Yes.
But she doesn't want it to be the case.
exactly. It's like one of those. What do you
And then,
call it?
and then
like,
Grandpa Joe from Willy
Oh, he's so
Wonka
cute.
is like, no,
yeah.
you need to keep pretending because otherwise,
He
you
knows.
know, Mrs. Banks from Mary Poppins will die.
I know. He
It has
knows
Mrs.
it's
Banks
a
from
lie,
Mary
and
Poppins.
you're
She's
like,
old.
oh, I've gotten trapped in these lies many times, so I get how she gets here. You're like, it's just a little white lie that turns into something much more, and so it's this really sweet story and cute, and it's a cute love story, and it ends up cute and
It is cute and it's
sweet.
likable. I only gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd because I do think it's featherweight. I mean, it will not stick
But
with me.
Featherweight is still. Oh, it'll stick with you. You remember everything about it. You remember more than me, and I love this movie.
Well, 'cause I watched it 3 days ago.
I did too.
Oh,
No, I didn't.
But,
it's good.
here's the thing. It was kind of a weird moment for me to finally watch it because, like, I remember the trailer vividly. Like, this was one of those movies that like has always been a part of my life because like 95 was right around the time I was like super getting into movies. Never watched it. The Net 2, actually. So it was a really productive
There was a
week.
sequel?
There was.
Interesting.
Actually, the Net 2.0.
Interesting.
But you can shut up. But no, here's the thing. Here's the reason I wouldn't have put it on my list anyway. What has been my one criterion about why I would or would not
Replace her.
if we put Julia Roberts in this movie?
I don't think
gets
so.
better.
Nope. I'll tell you why it doesn't work, because you know what? Who Julia Roberts doesn't work with? Bill Pullman. She's out of his league.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to also replace Bill Pullman with Richard Gere.
Yeah, Richard Gere or George Clooney, and then you have
Well, not in 95.
Not in
He was
95.
still that like
Agreed.
yo-yo from
He had
the
a
Doctor
mullet
show.
back then. Yeah, that's true. But replace him with Richard
Hugh
Gere.
Grant.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, in this, it only works. Sandra and
No,
and
you're
Bill
right.
only
You're
work.
right.
Yeah,
We need to believe that Bill Pullman has a chance.
true fact. And that's why it's my number one,
All right.
and will be infamous forever.
We've done Infamous.
We've done
Did?
it. Yeah, I stuck it in.
Damn.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
So I thought this one had a shot of being on your list, Carrie. I'm a little sad.
I bet I love it. I
I hope
though.
you love it.
Okay.
So this is a film that, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't necessarily first think of it as a Sandra Bullock film. I might first think of it as a Melissa McCarthy film.
Oh,
This
wow.
is 2013's other Sandra Bullock vehicle, The Heat.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen The Heat?
And I know I'm gonna
You're
love
gonna
it.
love it. It
I
would have
know
made
I
your
will.
list.
I know I will.
But it
I'm
would
so
have bumped off a
regretful.
film that was, so we still wouldn't have lined up 5 for 5. But it's
Tell
really
me about it more, though.
so directed by Paul Feig, written by Kate Dippold. Paul Feig. I don't know why I said Feig. This is about a straight-laced. I'm trying to remember. One of them's FBI and one of them's NYPD. I think I'm trying to get that real fast. Oh, it's not. It's Boston PD. So yeah. So it's another FBI agent movie with Sandra Bullock
Yeah.
as an FBI agent who's a super by the books, super straight laced, a real strict like team leader. Everybody hates her, and in order to solve a crime that she's been assigned to in Boston, she has to team up with this vulgar, unkempt, loudmouthed, swearing, gluttonous Melissa McCarthy
Love it.
at Boston PD. And it's a buddy cop movie. It's a
Yeah.
straight up Lethal Weapon. One of them's a tight ass. One of them's a loose cannon, but it's with women, which is like this. It has a weirdly like awesome destabilizing effect to this ancient narrative. I mean, nothing about the plot of The Heat would have seemed fresh in 1989, let alone 2013. And yet just having these two performers who are really, really good at embodying those two different things makes it feel so sharp compared to other buddy cop movies. I thought this was really, really solid. Not my favorite Paul Feig movie. I think that certainly Bridesmaids, probably Spy are both
I
better.
didn't know that was, yeah.
I do think it's the only, all of his movies are too long, but I think this is the one that's the least too long.
Is it in the same vein? Is it the female version of like 21 Jump Street?
No, it's the female version of Lethal Weapon, only funnier.
Okay.
Or really just the remake
think I've seen Lethal
of
Weapon.
Feds from 1988 with Rebecca De Mornay.
Except that's a movie no one in the world has ever heard of. And Lethal Weapon and 21 Jump Streets are movies that other people than you have heard
Come on,
of.
people, write in if you've seen Feds. I love Feds.
I don't think I've seen Lethal Weapon.
Who is the other person in Feds?
Mary
besides-
Gross.
I don't even know who that is.
No, that's
I know
nobody.
Mary Gross.
So you're going to stack
She was
Rebecca
the-
De Mornay
she was
and
the-
Mary Gross
She was
against
the bookworm, and
Against
Rebecca was
Sandra Bullock
the jock
and Melissa
in
McCarthy.
the FBI training academy, and they had a team up. They didn't like each other.
Right.
No, it's a good. The Heat is good. Honestly, I can't remember it very much. I can't remember any jokes. I can't remember what Sandra Bullock did in it. I imagine I was laughing at Melissa McCarthy, and Sandra was kind of just setting her up the whole time.
I mean,
I don't know what.
well, it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what it
you've
is.
got a
She's
straight man and you've got
yeah.
the comic figure. That's just the thing.
I'm sure I would love it. I'm sure I would love it with
I'm sure you
Melissa
would.
McCarthy too. I'm gonna have
I
to
think
catch that.
I think you
will.
need to catch up with that, Kara. I think you would enjoy
Heat.
it. Tim, for my number, I'm left with my number 2. I thought we talked about you watching this, and the fact that it's not on your list kind of hurts me a little bit.
I was going to watch it this morning and I ran out of time.
Are we talking about the same thing? We're talking about the action-packed movie Demolition Man.
We are talking about it.
I haven't
see it.
seen
I didn't
that.
get a
Oh my
chance to
God.
watch it. I'm sure it would have
Tell us
knocked
about
that
this.
piece
I
of
wanna-
shit Speed off my list.
I kind of want to cryogenically freeze myself and take myself into the future. When then
Is
you
Brendan
would have
Fraser
seen-
in this?
No, that also happens to. Does that happen? Oh yeah, because Encino Man.
Thanks.
No, It does not.
No.
No, that happens in this movie. Sylvester Stallone plays a kind of by his own rules police officer. Main adversary is Wesley Snipes. Phoenix. I forget what the
Simon Phoenix.
Simon Phoenix. My gosh.
I know the character names because the character names are
awesome.
beautiful.
Yes.
So it's Stallone or
Spartan. John Spartan.
John Spartan.
John Spartan.
John Spartan.
So
Tim
Simon
loves
Phoenix.
this.
Oh
Love
That's the
these
thing. Like,
names.
I think I would like this movie.
It is like you have to it's played for its silliness in the sense of like all of the action is kind of like a little bit ridiculous and everything. The setup is absurd. It's a 90s
What
movie.
actually happens?
So he manages to capture his main adversary right at the beginning of the movie. John Spartan, played by Sylvester Stallone, captures his main adversary, gets cryogenically frozen, but his main adversary takes out an entire building, and Sylvester Stallone is kind of blamed for it. So he also gets imprisoned and cryogenically frozen. As part of the cryogenic freezing, you get kind of your mind worked on a little bit,
Okay.
To learn some skills to cope with your anger issues. Fast forward to the future, someone lets Simon Phoenix out. In the
first
future,
bad guy.
the first bad guy was played by Wesley Snipes, into this perfect, serene future where everybody is now calm and like, yeah,
Medicated.
there is no crime and everything, and you unleash kind of a sociopath in Wesley Snipes out of the city. So what do? They
get jobs as demolition men.
Yeah, and they just go work construction, and that's it. That's the movie.
I can't tell if you're joking, and
No,
I've never
that's not
seen
the
it.
movie.
Okay.
So they get John Spartan, the guy who captured him, the police officer, out of cryo suspension to go capture his main adversary
okay.
and track him down. But yeah, he's trying to cope with kind of being in a world where instead of a restroom, there's 3 seashells. And what do you do with 3 seashells?
Scoop.
How did you know that? That's what I researched. I didn't know what to do with 3 seashells.
Well,
I've been there.
we know that your wife is an expert on certain bodily functions.
I guess so. Again, check out our Patreon content. Yeah, that's interesting that you knew that. That was something that tripped me up.
This sounds like the best kind of Sandra Bullock vehicle.
Yes.
And that you've laid out the entire plot without
So she's
mentioning.
basically playing a surrogate for Sylvester Stallone, helping him through this kind of like, where am I? Like, I'm in the future. I don't get how things work. And she's this big fan of the past.
When
Like,
you said, "Where am I?" I was convinced you were about to do a Stallone impression, and I'm like real sad you didn't.
no, I don't think I could do Stallone. But no, she.
Where am I?
Stallone. That's the thing.
Oh, you're right. You can't.
No, I can't.
Jesus.
I can't do
it's
it.
very
Mine was
bad.
bad.
So she
Very,
helps.
very
She
bad.
helps bridge the gap. She's a fan of like anything historical and kind of from the past. So she's well researched on all of his things. But yeah, this whole nonviolent future. Every restaurant is a Taco Bell. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't know who wrote the script. I mean, I guess I could have looked. But it's just so enjoyable. And so again, much like a time capsule of the decade that I grew up in the 90s.
We need to see this.
Very enjoyable.
I might even watch it like within the next 12 hours.
Okay. I'll
So
try.
I wish everybody does. Also stars Benjamin Bratt, Dennis Leary, and then Nigel Hawthorne.
So Benjamin Bratt was like a thing
Yeah.
with Sandra Bullock movies.
Yeah, that's right. Miss Congeniality.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She gets Benjamin's Bratt, if you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean.
Brat sounds like brat, which is bratwurst, and sausages are useless.
Here's the
Hand
thing,
me your
Tim.
wine. Hand me your wine.
No.
The director of this, Marco Brambilla,
Okay.
never made anything before this.
Okay.
How do you get a movie like this as your first movie, and then go on afterwards to make Excess Baggage? Starring Alicia Silverstone?
Well. Now you've made it a puzzle, and I will
don't
need to spend some time.
Yeah,
working on it.
Yeah, watch this movie. Think of the director while you're watching this movie, because I have no idea how he came to be. It's been a wild and crazy episode. I'm not really sure our order anymore. We'll have to go back.
We will parse it out. When you hear this, you will have already seen the elegant written down version of our lists, and it will seem much clearer than this anarchic chaos that was hunting through.
But the most overlap we've probably ever had.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
for
and me
sure.
at 4 for 5 was like unprecedented.
Yeah.
And I want to say too, one of the most audience engaged topics that we've had.
Really?
So again, I think people
like
love
Sandra
people
Bullock.
love the Bullock.
You don't know why you love her, but you do.
You do. And every
Never
week,
mind the Bullocks. Here's the Sex Pistols.
Every week, we ask you to share your picks and thoughts for a chance to win a free Amazon movie rental. Based on the results, here are the top 5 picks. Standing alone at number 5, The Proposal.
All right.
Yes. Keep going.
Number 4, While You Were Sleeping, Kara.
Keep going.
Tied for number 3, The Blind Side, which
I
none of
don't
us
have that.
actually had.
I
Her
actually-
Oscar-winning
Blind Side's-
performance.
No.
It's a good
It's
movie.
bad.
It's not
I
a good movie.
excluded
It's a
all
bad,
movies where she
racist,
has
awful movie.
Yeah.
Any movie she had a southern accent, I excluded.
Oh, that's a good criterion.
You know
Agreed.
what? She's born in Virginia. Is that the South? She's Southern.
I don't know.
It's the former Confederacy.
I
Okay.
excluded anyone from
She
Virginia.
traveled a lot in her
Yeah.
youth. She was out of the country a bit. Also tied for number 3, The Heat.
All
Tim.
All right.
Tied for number 2, Gravity, which
Yes,
we
that's
all
me.
had.
Both.
We all
I think
have.
that was
Okay.
the old. No,
Yeah.
we had all 3 had a couple, I think.
Okay. Number 2, Miss Congeniality.
Also had that one.
All right.
Nice. And standing by, far and away at number 1,
While
Speed.
you were sleeping.
All right.
Oh,
No, we already talked.
I think I was like 4 for 5 on the list.
Yeah. I don't think there's much to debate with Sandra Bullock. I think it was pretty concrete.
I kind of expected Demolition Man to make the audience.
I thought so too. I think it's a very popular
not everyone's
nostalgia
seen
pick
it.
for folks. And
I
that was a
also,
bit of a reach.
I get that we're like trying to be official and whatever, but like surely the time has come to admit that Speed 2 Cruise Control is better than Speed, right? I mean,
sequel better than the original for sure.
Yeah.
Both lowest Rotten
What's
Tomatoes
more
score.
interesting, Los Angeles or boats? If I could tell you, you could have a vacation on a boat or in Los Angeles, which are you going to pick? You're going to pick the boat.
Depends on the size of the boat.
QED.
Yeah.
Well, it's a cruise ship. It's a
And
big
just
boat.
so that you all know, this contest that we were talking about earlier is not fake. So it's a real one. Count up.
She feels very bad that no one emailed about this
I
weird
do.
ass Steven Spielberg.
What sucks is I get all the contact at email, so I'm going to have to parse through all this stuff.
So contact, if you don't know how to spell that, Google it. Contact at alternateending.com.
KONTACHT.
This is what happened last time. This is why no one participated.
I'm sure that's what it was.
So count up the number of times you heard titles of Sandra Bullock movies throughout this episode, not including when we were announcing our top 5s.
And not including when we were saying the titles of her movies.
Right.
Because if I were to say Sandra Bullock is in Ocean's 8, then that wouldn't count.
Exactly.
If I would say there aren't Ocean's 7 in this beautiful world, there are Ocean's 8,
Yes,
that would be
exactly.
dumb because it's not even a sentence.
I don't know what you've said just there, but the moral of that is email us and the winner will receive a shout out on this here podcast.
Wow.
And the next
So such a rich reward.
Carrie will say your voice in a very, very sultry. Your name in a
It could
very
be.
sultry.
She'll do it in a Sandra Bullock
You
accent.
just made me think of it. In any accent you want. I will do any accent you want with your.
It all comes out Indian, Carrie.
with your name.
It all comes out
No.
Indian. Everything.
I can do Scottish. I can do English, Irish. I can do anything.
Our lucky winner this week, Thrash Till Death. Who said, I don't think I have 5 movies in me. But surely Gravity is number 1, right?
It is
Absolute
good.
beast of a film, and Bullock carries most of it on her shoulders. I completely agree. Thrash Till Death. Shoot us email at contact@alternateending.com. It'll be tough to find your email amongst the others who are entering in for the other contest. But do that for details on how to claim your free Amazon movie rental. If you want to win a free Amazon movie rental like Thrash Till Death, be on the lookout for our spoiler alert or top 5 movie posts on Facebook and Twitter to share your favorite picks. In closing, I want to thank everybody for listening. Check us out on social media. Go out to our Facebook page and like it. Check us out on Twitter. We're tweeting all the time. How about going to alternateending.com for all of our blog reviews, podcasts, what else? Reviews and more? Those things?
Sometimes we do.
And Members Corner now.
Yeah, we have Members Corner.
Top
you can hear
picks?
us talk about things.
See what other top picks we have for the month of May. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google. And don't forget about our Patreon. Next week, since we've been waiting 14 years for The Incredibles 2 to come out, we look at other movies in desperate need of more story with our top 5 movies that need a sequel. We'll catch you then.